In the dusty town of Elbora, there was a quiet boy named Neru. He didn't talk much, didn't cause trouble, and most of the time, people didn't even notice him. But Neru was special. His father was a computer technician, and from the time Neru could walk, he had been around machines. While other kids played football, Neru was repairing old CPUs or unlocking games on school computers. He didn't do it to show off, he just loved technology. At Elbora Alternative High, a rundown school barely hanging on, he became a quiet legend. Not many knew, but he had once built a gaming PC using his own parts and donated it to the school's computer lab. There was one person who noticed Neru, Miss Beza, the computer teacher. She was strict but kind-hearted. "You're a wizard with these machines, Neru," she often told him. She trusted him more than anyone else. The school had 200 computers, all ancient and slow. But Miss Beza's lab had one system that worked beautifully, thanks to Neru's help. It was their shared secret. No one else touched it. Neru respected her, and in return she gave him space to learn and explore. The school's principal, Mr. Driel, was a bitter man. Cheap to the bone and always scheming, he didn't like spending money, especially not on students or equipment. His son, Dovik, thought he was some sort of computer genius, but all he ever did was reformat systems and brag about it. When the school scored high on state exams, they received a grant meant for technology upgrades. Mr. Driel didn't see it as a blessing for the school. He saw it as a payday. "I'll handle the new systems myself," Mr. Driel told the school board. "My son Dovik will help." They ordered 250 new computers, and instead of using certified vendors, Mr. Driel bought them from a shady backdoor shop. When they arrived, they looked nice, shiny, modern, promising. But no one knew the truth yet. Miss Beza and Neru volunteered to set up the systems. "We'll do it over spring break," Miss Beza said nervously. Mr. Driel agreed, but only after threatening to fire her if anything went wrong. Then he left on vacation with his family. For 2 days straight, Miss Beza and Neru worked without rest. They unpacked boxes, connected cables, and stacked monitors like puzzle pieces. On the third day, Neru paused for a moment and decided to boot up one of the systems. "Let's check if it runs," he mumbled. But the screen blinked, then went dark. "What?" he frowned. Another computer, same result. Panic rising, he ran to Miss Beza. "None of them have an operating system," he said. Her eyes widened. "No keys? No software?" Neru shook his head. "They're just shells." Miss Beza immediately called Mr. Driel. Neru stood nearby, listening. "Sir, this is urgent. The systems have no OS installed. We can't set them up." Mr. Driel's voice was cold. "Then figure it out. I'm on vacation. Sir, we need installation keys. Without them, they're useless." Miss Beza's voice cracked. "Buy them yourself then," Driel replied bluntly. "Or maybe we need a new computer teacher." And he hung up. Neru had never seen Miss Beza cry before, but now she sat down slowly, hands shaking. That moment broke something in Neru. He hated seeing her like that, tired, humiliated, alone. Without thinking, he grabbed his phone and called his father. "Dad, we've got a problem." 20 minutes later, his father arrived, 3 IT workers in tow. "Let's fix this mess," he said, carrying a box of tools and a crate of drinks. "We're on vacation too, after all." That evening, they transformed the dusty school into a tech war zone. Wires everywhere, laughter echoing through the halls, and the smell of takeaway food lingering in the air. Over 3 long days, they installed operating systems using a corporate license Neru's father had from his company. They configured networks, set up logins, updated every single machine, and even installed educational games. They slept in the school, showered in the gym, and watched movies using a classroom projector. "Feels like a nerd camp," one of the IT workers joked. By the end of the weekend, all 250 systems were alive and ready. On Monday, when students returned, they gasped at the transformation. Teachers cheered. Students lined up just to touch the new keyboards. "You're a hero, Neru," one student whispered. Miss Beza beamed with pride. "You saved the school," she said quietly. And for a brief moment, Neru felt seen. But that feeling didn't last. A week later, during an assembly to honor outstanding students, the principal took the stage with his usual smug smile. "Let's give a round of applause to the student who saved our computers," he said, motioning to the crowd. Neru straightened up in his seat. This was it, his moment. "Please clap for my son Dovik," Mr. Driel announced. The room went silent. Then came awkward claps. Dovik strutted onto the stage. "Thanks everyone," he grinned. It was hard work. Neru couldn't breathe. He felt hot, dizzy. "He stole my scholarship," he whispered. Miss Beza had written a glowing letter about Neru's efforts, recommending him for a prestigious tech school. But Driel never sent it. He submitted a fake letter for Dovik instead. That moment broke Neru again, but this time he wouldn't just cry. He would destroy them. Neru skipped the rest of the assembly. His friends tried to talk to him, but he couldn't hear anything. His hands trembled with rage. That scholarship had been his dream, his escape. Now Dovik had stolen it. And Mr. Driel stood there like a proud father, smiling as if nothing had happened. He took credit for everything, Neru muttered to himself. I gave up my whole vacation, my dad worked for free and they just erased us. His chest tightened. That night he couldn't sleep. But by morning his mind was made up. Revenge wasn't enough. He was going to destroy them. At lunch the next day, Neru gathered his closest friends in the far corner of the schoolyard. I need your help, he said simply. 8 of them, smart, loyal and furious, leaned in to listen. They called themselves the Revenge Council. We'll never meet in the same spot twice, Neru told them. No one can know we're working together. They agreed. Each person had a task. One would track camera feeds. Another would pull locker room schedules. Another would decode the login records. We're not just proving the truth, Neru said. We're exposing everything. First, Neru went to the superintendent. I need 5 minutes, he said firmly. The man agreed. Neru calmly explained what had happened, how he and Miss Beza set up the entire computer system while Dovik did nothing. Do you have proof? The superintendent asked. Neru nodded. I'll get it. Then I'll start looking into things on my end too, the superintendent promised. Neru needed more than just words, he needed access. So he reached out to Miss Beza, who had already moved on to her new job. When she heard the story she gasped. He stole your scholarship, she said. That man has no shame. I want to make sure this never happens again, Neru told her. Miss Beza chuckled. That's the Neru I know. With no hesitation she handed over her old login details. No trail, she warned. Don't get caught. Now Neru had access to the school's entire camera network. And the first thing he did was check the locker room feeds. Over the past few weeks, students had been reporting thefts, missing phones, laptops, even jewelry. Neru and his team combed through the footage. Then they saw it, the thief. And their jaws dropped. It was Dovik. There he was on camera sneaking into lockers using a printed combo sheet. He moved fast, always wore gloves and deleted the footage afterward. But he didn't know about the backup system. He used his father's login to get locker codes, Neru muttered. And he's been deleting evidence. Neru saved the footage to a private drive and made 3 backups. We have him, he told the council. Now we bait him. Neru brought his custom laptop to school, a powerful, expensive machine his dad had given him. It's worth at least $2,000, he said casually to anyone who asked. Dovik noticed immediately. Whoa, he said, eyes wide. That yours? Yeah, Neru replied. My dad's company gave it to him. I just play a few games on it. Dovik's mouth practically watered. We should hang out sometime, he said. You could come over. Game a little. Neru smiled. Sure. I'm free after school. Just before lunch, Neru made sure Dovik saw him place the laptop in his locker. Not worried about theft? Dovik asked, pretending to joke. Nah. Cameras are everywhere, Neru replied. And the cops are watching now. They'll catch whoever's behind it. Dovik nodded slowly. Right. Yeah. Makes sense. Then Neru walked toward the gym for what looked like PE. But he didn't go. He looped back quietly, slipped into a math class where the teacher liked him and said, I'm updating computers. The teacher waved him in. Neru opened his laptop and watched the security feed. 20 minutes later, Dovik appeared on camera. He carried a black trash bag and moved with confidence. He opened Neru's locker using the combo, pulled out the laptop, placed it in the bag, then took the mouse and charger too. He returned the empty laptop bag neatly and walked away. He thinks he's clever, Neru whispered. But I've got you. Moments later, he watched the camera file disappear from the school system. Dovik had deleted it just like always. But this time Neru had a backup. At lunch, Neru returned to the locker and made a scene. It's gone, he shouted. One of the council members, a girl named Arlie, ran to find the school officer. Within 10 minutes, 5 police officers arrived on campus. The school went into a soft lockdown. Students whispered in hallways. They're gonna search every locker, one said. But instead, the officers asked for camera footage. In Mr. Driel's office, the truth unfolded. Dovik sat at a computer pretending to play games. Can we access today's footage? An officer asked. Sorry, Dovik said with a smirk. That file's corrupted. It's been happening lately. But the officer wasn't convinced. Let's check another cam. Try cam 6, Dovik offered quickly. No, the officer said. We need cam 9. That's the one covering that hallway. Dovik froze. The officer clicked a few times. The file was there. Clear. And unmistakable. That's him, one officer said. Dovik's face went pale. Another officer looked at Mr. Driel. Call your son out, he said. We need to talk. Nehru was called into the principal's office just minutes later. One of the officers, a tall man with gray sideburns, showed him the recovered footage. Is this your locker? He asked. Nehru nodded. And is that your laptop? Again Nehru nodded, eyes wide. I thought he was my friend, he whispered. I can't believe he'd do this. His voice trembled, perfectly timed. He asked me to hang out after school. I thought he was being nice. The officer placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. You did the right thing. We'll take it from here. Dovik was arrested on the spot. I didn't mean to steal it, he shouted as they cuffed him. I just wanted to play with it and return it later. No one believed him. The officers already had a list of missing items from other students. A warrant was secured, and Dovik's room was searched that same evening. Inside they found over $5,000 worth of stolen items, headphones, watches, phones, even a teacher's missing tablet. Mr. Driel tried to intervene, but the law had taken over. His son was charged with felony theft. But Nehru wasn't done. Not yet. The council met again that night in a quiet cafe on the outskirts of town. Dovik's finished, Nehru said, but we've still got Driel. The others nodded. He's been skimming funds. We all know it. It's time to expose him too. Nehru prepared a full report. The missing software licenses, the unused grant money, the fake scholarship approval. He included a letter Miss Beza had written recommending him for the scholarship, the very one Driel had hidden. The next day, Nehru was called into a formal meeting with the superintendent, Mr. Driel, Miss Beza, and Nehru's father. The tension in the room was thick. So, the superintendent said, glancing at the paper in his hands, you're saying Mr. Driel never forwarded this recommendation letter? Miss Beza spoke up. I gave it to him personally. 2 weeks before I left. Mr. Driel stuttered. She didn't work here anymore. I needed to approve all outgoing documents. Nehru's father leaned forward. And instead you submitted one for your son. Convenient. The superintendent set the letter down. Where is the rest of the grant money, Mr. Driel? He asked. Driel paled. What money? He said, playing dumb. We spent it on equipment. Nehru's father stood up. No, you didn't. My team donated their labor. I donated the operating system license. You spent a fraction of the budget. He turned to the superintendent. We didn't need to buy 250 software keys. My license covered it. Every installation came from my corporate account. The room fell silent. The superintendent narrowed his eyes. So where's the money that wasn't spent? Driel didn't respond. He used it, Miss Beza said plainly. He pocketed the difference. Everyone knew he was cutting corners. Nehru finally spoke. You didn't just steal my scholarship. You stole from this entire school. Driel's jaw tightened. You have no proof. Nehru pulled out a flash drive and placed it on the table. Everything's on here. Copies of login logs, surveillance records, even your budget requests. Enjoy. The superintendent sighed. Mr. Driel, I'm placing you on immediate suspension. Word spread quickly through the school. Students buzzed in the hallways. Did you hear? One whispered. Principal Driel's out. For good. Teachers looked relieved. Some even smiled openly for the first time in months. Dovik's arrest and Driel's downfall became the talk of the town. The tech school scholarship was officially transferred to Nehru within a week. It should have been yours from the beginning, the superintendent told him during a quiet meeting. We're sorry. Nehru simply nodded. Thank you. But things weren't quite over. There were still 2 weeks left in the school year, and Driel had vanished without a trace. Probably hiding, one teacher joked. Or lawyered up. Meanwhile, Dovik remained in juvenile detention, awaiting his hearing. Nehru tried to focus on exams, but there was always tension in the air. He walked the halls like a ghost, a silent hero no one dared to mess with. But danger wasn't done with him yet. On the second-to-last day of school, Nehru was packing up his locker when he saw a shadow by the parking lot gate. It was Dovik. Out on bail. His eyes were wild, his fists clenched. Neru, he shouted. Neru turned slowly, bracing himself. What do you want, Dovik? You ruined my life. Dovik yelled. He walked toward Neru with heavy steps. You stole everything. Neru scoffed. You mean the things you stole? Dovik's eyes narrowed. You'll pay for this. Without warning, Dovik lunged forward and punched Neru hard in the back of the head. Neru collapsed, pain shooting through his skull. As Dovik jumped on him, fists flying, Neru twisted his body and delivered a sharp knee to Dovik's groin. Dovik let out a strangled scream and rolled over in pain. Neru, dizzy but enraged, crawled away as two football players rushed over. One of them kicked Dovik's arm hard. This is for my sister's stolen phone, he said. Dovik screamed again. Sirens echoed in the distance. He had a knife, one of them shouted. Call the cops. When the police arrived, they found Dovik writhing on the ground, his hand bleeding badly. One of the officers, the same gray-haired man from before, recognized him immediately. You again, he said. What's your excuse this time? A quick search revealed a pocket knife tucked in Dovik's waistband. Possession of a deadly weapon, the officer muttered. That's not just assault anymore. Neru sat on the curb, holding an ice pack to his eye and limping from the twisted ankle he'd gotten during the scuffle. Are you okay? One officer asked. Neru nodded slowly. I've been through worse. Dovik was arrested on the spot. This time he didn't resist. He just stared at Neru with hollow eyes as they placed him in the back of the squad car. You'll regret this, he mumbled. But Neru wasn't afraid. Not anymore. At the hospital, the doctors confirmed his injuries were minor, a mild concussion and a sprained ankle. As he rested in the sterile white room, his father sat beside him, hand on his shoulder. I'm proud of you, he said quietly. You stood your ground. The town buzzed with the news. Headlines in the local paper read, Principal suspended over missing funds, and teen hero exposes theft ring. Some teachers cried in private, ashamed they had supported Driel for so long. Students who once ignored Neru now greeted him in the halls. You did something big, one whispered. You didn't just save our computers, you saved our school. Neru tried to keep his head down, but part of him felt taller, stronger, like he had finally taken his place in the world. A week later, the school held another assembly, this time, led by the superintendent himself. It's important we honor truth and integrity, he said from the stage. He turned to Neru, who stood quietly near the front row. We made a mistake, the man admitted. But today we correct that mistake. The room erupted in applause as Neru stepped forward to receive a certificate, a scholarship award, and a standing ovation. But he didn't smile. He only looked around and whispered, this was never about applause. At home, Neru opened his old laptop and pulled up the files one last time. All the stolen footage, the forged letters, the evidence, it had taken months to gather and days to execute. He smiled softly, then deleted the last file. His job was done. Or so he thought. That evening, his father got a strange phone call. A man with a rough voice asked for Neru by name, then hung up. Who was that? Neru asked. Wrong number, his father lied, but his face was pale. 2 nights later, Neru was walking home from the local shop when he noticed a black car creeping behind him. He turned down an alley and ran, but the car didn't follow. Still, something was off. When he got home, he checked the cameras around the front porch. One of them had been tilted upward. Someone had been watching. I think Driel's people are still out there, Neru told his dad. They know. His father nodded. Then we stay alert. They installed new locks. Changed their routines. Even spoke with the police. You're probably safe, the officer said, but if you see anything suspicious, call us right away. Despite their efforts, unease hung in the air like a heavy fog. Neru kept checking over his shoulder. The fire of revenge had cooled, but now another flame flickered, the fear of retaliation. They know I ruined them, he whispered one night. And people like that, they don't forget. One afternoon Miss Beza called. I've been hearing rumors, she said. Someone's trying to smear your name. Online forums, fake stories, anonymous posts. Neru sighed. I expected that. You need to protect your future, she warned. That tech school will check your background. Don't give them an excuse to turn you away. Neru promised to stay clean. No more hacking. No more tricks. Just the truth from here on, he said. But the truth, it seemed, was no longer enough. Weeks passed and graduation came. Neru walked across the stage in a pressed blue uniform, his limp now barely noticeable. He didn't smile for pictures. He didn't throw his cap. But when he shook the superintendent's hand, There was weight in that grip. "You taught us all a lesson," the man said. "One we won't forget." As Nehru stepped off the stage, the crowd clapped, but he scanned the back rows. He wasn't looking for friends or family. He was watching for shadows. The summer before tech school should have been peaceful. But Nehru spent it waiting. Waiting for the other shoe to drop. Waiting for the next twist. The next threat. He tried to focus on his packing. New books, clean clothes, cables, chargers. But deep inside he knew the story wasn't over. Not yet. Someone was still watching. And somewhere in the silence of El Bora, revenge was stirring again. The day before he left for tech school, Nehru stood quietly in his room, staring at the closed suitcase on his bed. Everything he owned, and everything he had fought for, was packed inside. His father knocked softly on the door. "You ready?" he asked. Nehru didn't answer right away. "I don't know if I'll ever be ready," he said. His father stepped into the room and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then go anyway. That's what strength looks like." They drove to the train station in silence. No crowds, no friends, no banners. Just the soft hum of the engine and the weight of shared understanding. As Nehru stepped onto the platform, he looked back one last time. El Bora had been his prison and his battlefield. But it had also been his teacher. "Don't let this place shape your future," his father called. "Let it sharpen it." Nehru nodded. He turned, climbed aboard, and never looked back. Life at the tech school was different. Brighter halls. Faster machines. Teachers who didn't lie. Students who didn't steal. But even in that new world, Nehru moved cautiously. He kept his head down, his words measured, and his work impeccable. "You're brilliant," one professor said. "But always so quiet." Nehru only smiled. He had learned that brilliance made you visible, and visibility came with a price. Years passed. The story of El Bora faded like an old scar. Nehru graduated top of his class and got hired by one of the largest software security firms in the country. He never used his real name, always stayed one step ahead, always watching. The world saw a genius. But beneath the surface lived a boy who had once wired an entire school, been betrayed, and chose justice when others would have chosen violence. He never forgot. One day, as he sat in his sleek new office overlooking the city skyline, an envelope arrived. No return address. Just a single line on the paper inside. "You didn't finish us. We're still watching." Nehru leaned back, folded the letter slowly, and slid it into a drawer beside an old flash drive. Then he whispered to himself, "Good. Because neither did I." Every story carries a lesson. If this one moved you, tap subscribe so you never miss the next twist in the journey.